feel like a king in the castle up here, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I've been teaching yoga for about 20 years, and I have a yoga teacher who is a Buddhist monk who lives up in the Wicklow Hills. And she's taught me many different types of yoga in a way you don't find out there. Yoga has sometimes become now a target, part of the targets again. So you'd be glad to know that the practice that we're going to do for about 15 minutes, we're going to ask in many ways, can you set no target? But there's no should be's, there's no has to be's, there's no failures. Yoga is just an inquiry as to how we are. That's all it is. We move our arm up, how's that going today? That's all it is. It's not I'm trying to do this or I'm trying to do that. So there's no trying in the body, so therefore there is no measure as we had earlier on. So we drop the measure as best we can. The practice that I've been taught is very much associated with the holes that are in our body. The deep held anxieties of our past and where are they held in our body now. And in particular, my teacher teaches me that our thigh muscles hold a lot of our deep held anxieties. Now these anxieties have come from our past. They may have happened when we were 3, 4, 10, 9. If you consider that at some age perhaps you were nearly run down by a bus or by a car or by a bicycle or by a scooter. And when that happened at that moment in time, the body went, oh good Lord. It held itself. It tightened itself. It protected itself. But somebody forgot to tell the body that that bus, car, truck, scooter didn't hit you. But as a result, it still remains held in the body. So the body still holds us hostage to some degree. So the teachings that have been taught to me are, can we go and visit these places of heldness? And these places of heldness are kind of the difficult places in our body. They're the hardness in our body, and they're the painful places in our body. So they can be physical and emotional in many ways. So the practice we're going to do is going to ask us to visit one or two of these pains. Physically, you're going to feel it as painful. And not a great pain, but it is your pain. And the pain you came in the door with may be held in your thigh muscles somewhere. So during the practice, we're going to look and see how that manifests with us. The second thing we're going to look at is our feet. I love the old sayings of my granny. I'll be grand when I find my feet. Yeah. And our feet are so important. When we're standing, they're the only thing supporting us to stand up to the best of who we are. The only thing supporting us. We can drag ourselves up with muscle and build things, but it's our feet that help us to stand up to the best of who we are. So we need to find our feet, the earth energy. We know people who are salt of the earth. We all know somebody like that. We give them a few bob to mind for us, as opposed to perhaps somebody else who may not be of the same strength. So we're going to look today to see, can we find our feet? So the practice we're going to do is a support practice for ourselves. The first thing we're going to do is not sit back into the chair. Sit into the front of the chair. Placing your feet on the floor. If you have high heel shoes on, can you take them off? I have mine off, look, don't wear them. I haven't been coming out of the closet yet. So, finding your feet on the floor, sitting in the front of your chair. And imagine you're growing down into your feet, down into your heels. So press down into your heels. Place your hands onto your thigh muscles. And as you press down into your heels, feel how the thigh muscles ignite. Feel how they come alive. Can you feel that? Don't press down into your heels and feel how the thigh muscles relax. And sometimes the body falls. So we're going to add in growing down into our feet as part of our practice. Our heels, the balls of our little toe, the balls of the big toe. So the padded part of our foot, of both feet connected to the ground. And then we're going to imagine that an angel takes a piece of your hair, the back of your hair, and lifts you up out of the seat of your pants. Yeah, it's like growing up. And it's very true when your granny told you, would you ever grow up? It is all about growing down into the earth and would you ever grow up? It's the same thing. So how do we find this lift in ourselves to help us to grow up? We find the earth and we engage with lifting ourselves up. So as the feet go down, the angel has drawn a piece of the back of her hair up towards the ceiling. This requires you to be constantly present with yourself. Now remember, there's no targets, there's no Olympics, there's no judgment, there's no should-bes, just what you're feeling. That's all there is. Some sense of connection with the earth and some sense of growing up. Right in the front of our good heart around here, there's a breastbone. This is our heart energy. This is what collapses on us when a sense of depression sometimes comes about. There's a physical drop in the body, this place. So, bringing your right hand onto your good heart, a feeling of lifting this breastbone just up a little bit, not your chin, just the breastbone. So you're growing down into your feet, that's still there. The angel is still drawing a piece of the back of your head to the ceiling, you're still growing up. And now you have a place of your hand on the front of your good heart, and you're asking this heart to lift up. Yeah. So what happens in our lives is we tighten off into places when we're hurt, and in particular around our good heart, when our heart is broken. Be it from death, be it from being sacked, or anything of any nature, broken up with a boyfriend, girlfriend. Our heart is broken. What do we do when our heart is broken? We tighten off that heart. Nobody's going to break my heart again. Unconsciously, we tighten up around the whole rib cage. So we're looking the practice of yoga to soften that tightness and the warrior inside us to come forth. So as we can open our good heart, which we all have, and that compassion that's inside that good heart can just be there with you, for you, and those around you for the day or your week of your lives. So it's the holding in our body that causes the tightness, and the tightness that causes pain in many places, including in the organs inside ourselves that we don't feel. So we go back to our feet. We grow down into our feet. The angel draws a piece of the back of her hair up towards the ceiling. If that image doesn't work, imagine there's a puppeteer with strings on your spine and he's lifting you up out of the seat of your pants. Nothing harsh, just an investigation. Knowing that when you're present with yourself in this way, your heart can be lifted. That sense of you, that innate goodness allowing itself to come out. Then we're going to place both hands onto our belly. Close your eyes should you wish. We're going to tune into our breath. The breath that's breathing us quite naturally. Not the breath you're going to make, just the breath that's breathing you quite naturally. Notice the breath as it comes in through your nostrils and how as it meanders down towards your belly. Natural place for the breath to go. Notice as you breathe out and you watch the breath leave and leave and leave and leave and leave, how the belly softens, and then gather that belly gently back to the spine. So once again, awareness of your next breath as it comes along. Invite that breath to come into your body. Flow down and fill the balloon of your belly. The place of our intuition, our belly. And as we breathe out and the belly softens and softens and softens, we're going to gather the jelliness of our belly inside back towards our spine. Bring the mind home. The Buddhists would say the monkey mind that we in the West have at our forehead needs to go home. So awareness of your belly. Continue to allow the breath to come in and fill the balloon that's in your belly. Without push or shove or any target, just be curious as to what happens around your belly. And as you breathe out, watch all the breath leave and leave and leave your belly, and then gather the belly deep back to the spine. And then we're going to change the place where our hands are. We're going to place our hands at the sides of our rib cage. So right at the side, so the elbows stick out. Remember our rib cage, and inside here we have our lungs, and this is the place of our good heart. So wherever you have a connection with your hands, just bring your awareness there. Wherever we bring our awareness, wherever our awareness goes, the energy flows. So with awareness at the sides of your rib cage and your hands, invite your next breath to flow out towards your hands, and it will flow there, expanding out sidewards. And as you breathe out, watch all the breath leave and leave and leave the rib cage as it softens like an accordion. So taking one more breath in your own time with your curiosity, your breath comes in through your nostrils. and it flows out towards your hands and the sides of your rib cage. And when you decide, you watch the breath leave and leave and leave. And then gather that belly gently back to the spine. And then we're going to take our right hand and place it onto our breastbone. And let your left hand just rest onto your thigh muscle, so just rest away. So spreading this hand right here at your breastbone, remember, wherever you bring awareness, the energy of the breath will flow. So awareness of your hands, the tip of your fingers, the heart of your hand, the heels of your hand, its connection with your breastbone, the front of your good heart. Invite your next breath, patiently, to mosey on through your nostrils and flow up and fill into this hand. Fill into the place of your good heart. And when you are ready, as you breathe out and out and out, as the breath leaves the body, just gather the softness of the belly gently back to the spine. So one more breath of this nature. Awareness of your hand. Invite your breath to come up and fill up into your hand, like it's just flowing into a place quite naturally. And as you breathe out, watch all the breath leave and leave and leave the body, and gather the softness of the belly deep back to the spine. Now we place our right hand onto our thigh muscles. So we've filled our belly, we've filled the sides of our rib cage, and we've filled the upper rib cage of the body. So now we're going to fill all three with breath. Be patient. There's no target. There's no Olympics. There's nobody judging us. We're just curious as to what happens to our body. Awareness of your belly. Allow your breath to come in and fill into your belly. Allow that same flow to the sides of your rib cage. Allow it flow underneath your breastbone. Pause with all the breath just for a moment. It's difficult, yes. These are the pains in our body. And as we breathe out nice and gently and slowly, we soften the mouth and the jaw and the throat, and we soften our breastbone where our hands were. And then we imagine there's a river of softness flowing through our shoulders, through our upper arms, through our elbows, through our forearms, through our wrists, through the palms of the hands and out to the tips of our fingers. So I'd like you to use the childlike nature of our imagination in the flow of this. Awareness of your belly. Allow your breath to come in and fill your belly. Invite that breath to flow to the sides of your rib cage. Invite that breath to fill on the balloon underneath your breastbone. You're full of breath in three places. Pause with all the breath. As you breathe out, soften your mouth, jaw, throat to breastbone. And imagine there's a river of softness flowing from your upper arm, through your elbows, through your forearms, through your wrists, through the palms of the hands, and out through the tips of your fingers. And then as we we breathe in once more, we fill the belly, we fill the upper rib cage, we fill up into our shoulders. As we breathe out, we gather the belly back to the spine. Now I want you to imagine that your belly is just like a lake, and you're pouring the lake of your belly down your thigh muscles, down your calf muscles, and all the way down into your feet. Give it a colour if you want, down into your feet. So we breathe in and we let the breath expand across our rib cage and fill underneath our breastbone. We breathe out, we gather the belly gently back to the spine to bring the mind home to the spine. And then we soften and pour the whole of this belly down and into the hips, thigh muscles, calf muscles, and down into our feet. Particularly our left foot. We connect our left foot to the floor, our left heel to the floor, and we lift our right foot and heel up off the floor. Left foot and heel to the floor, right foot away from the floor. Foot that's lifted, we point the toes away, we lengthen into the heel. Point the toes away, so we flap the foot, like flapping it. Remember, any time we move any joint in our body, a load of guys come in on overtime and they make oil. WD-40 goes into your joints when you move them. So use it or lose it is a good thought. That foot that's lifted makes circles with the ankle in one direction. You may feel your thigh muscle shouting at you a little bit now. Can you feel that? Yeah, that's your pain. It's been there a long time. Come back to centre, make circles in the opposite direction. That's it. Come back to centre, turn your heel in, turn your heel away. Turn the heel in, turn the heel away. Feel how that is in your hip. And then allow the right foot rest down onto the floor. Feel how the leg feels. Feel how the tightness that might have been there as the softness of the thigh muscle, like it went back to bed. Can you feel that? Yeah. The difference between the left and right side, what's come about for you. So be ashamed not to bring some balance into our body. So with the right foot rooted, we lift the left heel above the floor, left foot above the floor. Use a breath to support us. We breathe in, we fill and expand across the rib cage. We fill the balloon of the upper body. As you breathe out, gather the belly gently back to the spine. Pour all the belly, like a lake, down that right thigh muscle, right calf muscle, down the right foot. Can the left knee come back towards you tiny, tiny bit, a bit more? Lift the foot that's lifted, point and flex and point and flex. You may feel cracks going on in your ankle. Make circles in one direction. You may hear the cracks going on in mine. And then go around the opposite direction. And then as a little extra challenge, root down to your right foot, lengthen your left heel away. Yeah. Kick the person in front of you. Point and flex. Flex the foot that's there. That's it. And then bend that left knee and let it rest down onto the floor. Feel what you feel. Oops. Feel what you feel. Notice what you feel. It's all about just you with being present with your own body. It's nothing to do with targets. So if we can work with this awareness of how we are, not just physically how we are, but how we are mentally. When I wake up in the morning, how do I feel? When I go down to the breakfast to the children or the family, am I a narky son of a, or am I in good form? So what helps us with that is to lift our breastbone. So down to the feet, to the floor, lift the breastbone, lift your good heart. Okay. We're going to do one last thing, or one second last thing. It may involve you kind of coming into the chair in front of you or not, but we just have a look. So, I'm going to lose this. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, we're going to come forward a little bit with our feet and really find these heels, but the heels are underneath us. Allow your spine just come forward a little bit, and I really want you to adjust your heels to press down into the heel and see can the heel bring you up. So like what I've done. Come forward, heels bring you up. Just your heels. Now, I know we want to put our hands onto the chair. Find the chair again. If the hands just relax somewhere, don't use them like we normally do. Come forward with the spine, looking forward, heels bring you up. And the chair. Come forward, heels bring you up. Find the chair. Come forward, heels really into that bone of that heel, bring you up. Those heels, because they have your back. Those heels are at the back of your body. So heels bring you up. Somebody has your back, you know they have your back. And then stay up. Bend your knees towards your big toes and let the body be shook. Let the body be shook. This is the last thing. This moves the lymph in the body, which can really become very stagnant and is very sore when it gets gathered in its place. So when we shake the body like this, we go to our calf muscles and we ask them to be jelly. So imagine the calf muscles being jelly and they're just shaking. Yeah. And imagine then your buttocks being jelly and they're just shaking. Yeah, just let it be. Don't forget what's happening. Inside your belly there's a load of organs, jelly-like organs that slip and slide against one another. So imagine you let all them be jelly and it all goes blah, 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 blah. So let it be. Yeah. Yeah. And then imagine you didn't hold on to your shoulders. What happens as you shake yourself? And you're really using your feet to shake yourself. What happened to your shoulders? What happened to your arms as you shake yourself? And then one last part, we're going to take our right hand and put it onto our breast. And we're going to give this a good waking up. My granny used to do this as well. And then we're going to have a sound. It's a big, deep sound. And then just sleep. And then just rest. Bring your awareness down to your feet. Your heels, balls of the little toe, balls of the big toe. Just notice how it feels. The lightness of the edges of your skin perhaps feel a little bit light. You've moved the lymph in your